Good morning, welcome back to Marty's Tying Bench. Today I'm tying a little yellow Sally stonefly. You'll recognize the basics of this tie as Morris's anatomy, and I just kind of adapted it to the yellow Sally nymphs we were finding in a few stomach samples on the river the other day. Good summertime pattern. I've got a Dai Riki 285 in a size 20. Now this is a 3x long hook, so this is more like a 16 if you were to just look at it and guess the size. Got a 5/64 gold bead. You can certainly substitute copper, make a lot of substitutions if you want this thing to be a little bit darker. But this is my light colored stonefly. I've got a brown goose biot, and I'm taking my tail segments out of the tip of that biot. They're going to be a little more slender, a little easier to tie in a forked manner. I'm just going to grab those by the tips and give this thread a spin. The thread is UTC 70 denier. It's wood duck, because that kind of matches the color of the dubbing that I've got. Yeah, just going to set those in there. There we go. I'm going to go straight to the wire. This is Danville's gold wire. If you use UTC, you're going to want to use the small. And let's just install that along the side and use those three things to build up a pretty even base for the body. Just need to cut those shorter than the bead there. For a shellback, this is you'll also notice from this pattern it's much like the Iron Sally, but I've substituted a brown. Let's see, what is it specifically? Yeah, medium brown Krystal Flash. And what I'm going to do is take 4 strands of that, lay those out the front, and try and bundle them together so that they stay on the top and the strands of Krystal Flash are stacked together. Now these are going to end up being legs up here, but it just kind of speeds up the tie to set it up this way. Dubbing, I wish I could tell you precisely what color this is, but you're going to pick the color that you want, kind of match your own stoneflies. But this is kind of a mustardy yellow. It's crinkly, but it dubs nice and smooth. Now I'm going to keep this thing slender. I don't mind if it's a little bit fuzzy, but for the most part I want it to be a smooth body. Okay, there's my abdomen. I got some dubbing left over. It's going to end up here anyway, so I'll just apply it now. Take these 4 strands and stroke them until they're flat. Take that kink out of it and lay it down right along the back. And there's going to be the dark back of the stonefly. Now with the gold wire, if I've got room, I'll make that first turn behind the abdomen, but if that were to pinch my tails together, I would make an adjustment and jump it right up onto the body with that first turn. Going to make my wraps fairly close together. Okay, now when I folded that back, 4 of these strands are going to be longer than the original 4, so that makes it easy to grab them and pull them back, set them up to be a wing case. Now I'll pull one leg on the near side, one leg on the far side, and then I can kind of crease this stuff to get it to stand out a little bit. Yep, that one's there we go. Now back to the dubbing. It won't take very much since we've used a lot of thread wraps to bind things down in the front part. Now I'm going to build up a little bit of a ball there so that it's a little wider than the abdomen. Now I'm going to fold the middle legs back. Now I'm going to need some space here for the final wraps, so I want to be real careful filling in the last bit of dubbing so that there's space for my thread to sit behind the bead for the whip finish. First thing I want to do is get a few up against the bead so that it's centered. You don't want it flopped either direction. Now, pull your wing case over. Again, I'm stroking them so that they'll lay flat on the top. And that little bit of dubbing that was left on the thread is optional. So I don't do it on purpose, but it works out fine if it's there. It's just fine if it isn't. And use 2 of those for your front legs. Last 2 are surplus. Going to cut those short enough for my whip finisher to work around. And slide those right down in that gap. Head cement would be a good idea here. I'm going to dispense with it just for speeding up the video a little bit. There we go. Now, camera's on the wrong side to show the cutting clearly, but basically I'm going to bundle them up and cut them a length I like. And I don't have any advice here. I cut some of them long and they look good. I cut some of them short and they look good. If that's the case, then tie them long. You can always cut them shorter again later if you think that becomes important. But there you go. Fairly simple little yellow Sally. What did it take? 8 minutes with all the yakking. That's a fairly quick tie for a complicated looking pattern. It's not too bad. So, Yellow Sally with credit to Ken Morris for the Anatomy and Iron Sally patterns that provided the techniques here.